Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today. This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Astrology Table for Two.
And there's always a third chair for you. All right, this is Rachel.
This is Jordan.
And this is April.
And this is now Astrology Table, the Astrology Table. Wait for a rebrand. It's coming.
Okay, soon.
Astrology Table for Two. We're sunsetting you, and it's perfect timing because this is the full moon in Gemini.
Woo.
Are we this or that?
Exactly.
We're
Back
both.
to the drawing board.
We're both.
And this is happening on Sunday, the 15th of December at 3:02 in the morning. So you'll likely feel it Saturday night at 23 degrees of Gemini. And just a reminder, Gemini is our mutable air sign ruled by Mercury. It's the third sign represented by the twins, ruling the lungs, nerves, arms, hands, and vocal cords. So our natal Gemini moon here. April, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot of things about this. I'm laughing at myself because I'm realizing on my phone how long my notes are. And apparently I have a lot to say, which is so Gemini. This is my Gemini moon. I have lots of feelings and I want to talk about it. So if you have a significant Gemini placement, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. There is this chatty, communicative energy. And for me, when I feel things really intensely, when I get that clarity, when I get that understanding, I want to externally process. And I need
Mercury's
people.
yang sign.
Yep.
Creative, generative.
Exactly. And so that's what I'm feeling. But one thing I thought that hit me is the concept of truth bombs coming out during this moon. So communication and intellectual pursuits, bringing those aha moments and breakthroughs we've been waiting for. But this is almost like the energy of you're at a dinner party and there's like an elephant in the room and someone just blurts it out. Or like drops the truth. And you're like, okay, now it's all out in the open and we all know what we're talking about. Kind of that zing of I just let that secret spill. And I don't know if I even meant to, but
the dramatics.
But now,
yeah.
but now it's there for us to
process.
see because full moons bring things fully into the light. So I don't know. That was something I was contemplating.
Incredibly candid.
And how
candid.
People react.
Yeah,
You don't know.
we don't know.
I think you don't know.
Especially because the closest aspect to this moon is a square with Neptune at 27 Pisces. And Neptune just stationed direct a couple of days before we recorded this. So I have in my notes where the square is dynamic, right? There's tension, there's sort of loggerheads, there's a perpendicular nature, 90-degree angle of the nature of Mars. So it forces action. But I'm getting with Gemini information, Pisces nonsense, Gemini logic, Pisces faith.
Exactly.
Truth with Gemini, fiction, Pisces, real, unreal, noise, music. Like there's this very, do I understand? Question mark.
Yes, this is like there is the truth and then there's the story I'm telling myself about what's happening. Or it's like narrating or creating or trying to understand the illusion of the dynamic. It's, we have to separate fact from fiction here. And so challenge those thoughts because just because you think it doesn't make it true, just because you feel it doesn't make it real.
Devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
There is essentially some forms of truth, though, where the perception is the reality.
Oh, well, that's absolutely right. That, just because we can argue over how did we experience the same situation, Well, the reality is we didn't experience the same situation. You experienced your situation and I experienced mine. And so maybe that's really it. It's working with the reality that we find ourselves in.
That truth is individually experienced,
Yes.
Gemini moon.
Yes, truth is
There's
individually
my
experienced.
truth, your truth, and then capital T, the truth,
Exactly.
There's
which no one
always-
can
yeah.
experience.
No one can.
No.
We're all, I love to like talking about how we're all on our own journey. And so whatever is happening via you has nothing to do with me. And it really kind of separates our need to like make everyone else okay.
Yeah.
And I like that too because Jupiter is co-present in Gemini. Not conjunct, it's 8 degrees away, but still you can feel that warmth of the Jupiter, even though Jupiter in Gemini is not comfortable whatsoever. It's in its detriment, but it still gives us some hope, some confidence, some sort of, what I have here is faking it till you make it.
Oh, absolutely.
Just sort of this aspirational, like, you know, when you're kind of more high-minded, more rose-colored glasses, a little bit more like, you know, that could be a good thing. Let's silver lining that. You know, like there's some way in which I can arrange this to be what I need to be for my highest good, to be for the benefit of all beings. Because guess what? That's what's going on.
Yeah.
And if you believe in purpose, then it's all on purpose. So figure out how it's serving you.
And I think it's perspective too. And that's one thing I admire about Gemini is the ability to see things from probably every perspective. Honestly, to the point where it could be devil's advocate, you know, kind of vibe.
Or overwhelming because
yeah.
you can't land somewhere when
Yeah.
you can see the
There's too many
validity
options.
of all of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of noise. And I think that making sense out of all of the stimulus, like Gemini can get overstimulated and Gemini moon kind of lives for that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like hyperstimulation it's exciting, but it also can be confusing.
Maybe
especially
manic.
that-
Like
yes.
kind of
Manic is a good
behavior.
word,
Yeah.
And what makes this even more interesting, and I'm curious to hear your perspective on this, both of y'all, because you've got, Jordan, a lot of mutable placements, and you've got, April, this natal placement. So this Gemini full moon is happening with Mercury literally hours from its direct station. So Mercury's still retrograde for this technical lunation, but it turns direct same day. And Mercury is then hanging. It's the slowest it is. It is stationary retrograde. And so to me, there's some sort of in the middle of all this energy, chaos, thoughts, information, sensation, there's like suspense.
Yeah.
It's like the vision I get is the train is stuck 10 feet from the platform. Like it's just isn't quite there and you can't board it and you can't get, but it's so close and you're
Right.
just like, I can see the finish line, but I cannot quite get there.
Right.
I have been on an air train that was stuck like that.
Yes.
And you're like,
It is-
oh my God, it's right there.
Or like stuck in traffic and your exit is
Oh,
like
yeah.
just 20 feet ahead
You're
and you
like,
can't quite get off.
But that's the great thing about, you know, mutable signs is the ability to adapt, right?
Yes.
Looking at it from a different, a forced perspective in a way to be like, okay, what can my new solution be now? Like, how can I utilize the tools around me, the resources I already have
Flow in the cracks.
to figure
find a
this
different
out?
way.
Yeah.
And Jordan does not actually have the notes in front of her, but I have forced pause written here.
That's
so
so
that
funny.
forcing is totally
gets
true.
it.
Oh, I have them over. They're just hidden. It's a trick of the eye.
Oh.
Very trickster over here today.
Hey, that's also very Gemini, right? That kind of cleverness, like
Yeah.
too clever
I
by
should have
half.
just been playing small pranks on you this entire episode.
Hey, that is also,
That is also.
on theme. It's in character, especially because Mercury's still retrograde.
Yeah.
So there still might be some of those like illusions or some of those like, gotcha.
Gotcha.
You
Yeah,
thought
you're
it was
not.
this.
No one is free from the target of Mercury retrograde. Things will be going great, and then you can be minding your own business. And you're
So-
still gonna get got. Like you will.
Here's an example. I went to Best Buy yesterday because I needed to buy a power cord for my computer, only to find out that my computer takes 2 different kinds. And one, I have like 50 of them. So I walked in and talked to this lady, and she was like, "No, you can use this type. You can use a USB-C charging cord." I was like, "Oh, well, then I don't need you, so I'm leaving."
Oh my gosh. And you have my old computer. So I could have told you that.
Oh yeah, I know. I just like, how did I
Rachel
not know
did that on
this?
purpose.
Yeah,
I'm
Rachel,
kidding.
you were playing a prank on me. But it's like, yeah, you walk in.
Got you.
You think you need this technology fix. Actually, you don't.
Actually, you don't.
What's so funny is when I first got that computer at Herringbone, I also was like, wait, do you charge it with the USB-C? Like, is that
What is
how
this,
it works?
witchcraft? Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
I love that, but I think there's also this element, especially with Mercury stationing, of kind of like play or silliness that can't be denied with
No.
this Gemini moon. Because if you don't laugh at things sometimes, if they're irritating or if they're challenging, you can be frustrated or like, sad, upset, or you could be cracking up.
Yeah. Laughter really is medicine. Like
Gallows
it really
humor is my favorite. Is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Just take that dark situation and let's just laugh.
I think
about it.
laughter really is the switched perspective. Like
It's the anecdote.
it literally
You're right.
makes you rethink it. Like, okay, let me just calm down.
It's
like,
the
let me
flip
assess.
side.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Like, it'll be okay.
So literally last night, Chip and I were watching, my husband Chip, Anthony Jeselnik, Bones and All. He's like gallows humor.
No,
king.
exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of. I just watched it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Of course you did. And
Yeah.
everybody out there, if you haven't seen it and you want some gallows humor, Gemini vibe in your life, Netflix.
That's it.
Go click on it. It's great.
It's great.
It might offend you, but that's the great thing about Gemini.
That should be our sponsor this episode.
Will you sponsor us, Netflix? Please. But I think there will be this evolution of also our ways of hearing things or our ways of taking things. You know how sometimes, like, say you're offended by a certain thing and you go through life being offended whenever it comes up. And then maybe you might have an experience that's like, you know what? I'm actually okay with that. I've changed and I'm not so triggered by whatever that is.
Right.
And now I can take the joke.
Yeah. Don't have to take things personally.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
let's cheers to
Ooh.
not taking things personally.
Yes. Girl. Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh,
Okay.
you brought the bubbly.
I'm going to pop a bottle.
Okay.
Let's hope it doesn't explode.
Oh,
That was
yes.
a beautiful, clean pop. Surprisingly, I thought it would explode.
For those of you guys who are listening, we always have a beverage, and sometimes we mention it, sometimes we don't. We've probably got 4 different types of beverages.
Yes.
This is very full moon and Gemini on
Bev
the
queens.
table. But the best one, the Gemini moon brought in, just throwing that out there. Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
Thank you, April.
Thank you so
And
much.
Rachel for the Izzies.
You're welcome.
Hey.
I love drinking champagne with my best friends. So here we go.
Cheers to that. Thank you, friend. Sorry, my mic is falling, so give me just one moment to adjust over here.
I
while
think
I mix.
sparkling wine is also like a great mascot for this moon because it is literally transformed. It's like grapes transformed, and they're made bubbly and cute.
And pink in this instance.
And Gemini is all about that. It's the transformation of something into a higher form, right? Of our own thoughts into expressions.
Yeah.
Or of our
Ooh.
own, understanding into something creative, or generative, right? Like that's how
Yeah.
art is made.
Oh, yeah.
So this is
And art can heal you. Like the creation of art can
Ooh,
literally like, heal you.
Cheers,
Taking-
everyone.
Cheers.
Ooh, yes. Cheers.
Let's see. One clink. Clink.
Clink, clink. That just made me think of, taking whatever inner pain, struggle, darkness, kind of like that gallows humor,
Mhm.
or the darkness that is the hard thing, that is the source of the joke,
Yep.
and transmuting it and externalizing it, whether you're transforming it into art. That's a great way to work with the energy of this moon.
Yeah.
What comedian do you know who's like totally mentally, emotionally, spiritually awesome? Okay, totally great.
No,
None.
none.
They
None
make
of them.
jokes so that they can deal with
I
it.
had to think about that. I was like, ugh.
But that's why they're so funny.
Mhm.
Exactly. The best ones. I mean, look at Robin Williams and his own personal struggle with mental health and obviously, rest in power. He was an incredible human being, but just completely revolutionized the world of film, media, comedy, because he was such a life force.
Yeah, the impact he had was phenomenal.
You guys are making me think of the fact that stationary Mercury, is making a very tight trine to Mars, recently retrograde, at 5 degrees of Leo. So that life force, that vivification that we're talking about it's accessible. Trines are more than accessible. It's inevitable. Whatever we're doing here is really for the highest good, but it doesn't mean it's going to be chill. It might be like embarrassing. It might be something where we have a crisis of confidence or an evolution of faith. I have in here too, entering your blank era. Like whatever this era
Yes,
is.
I loved that.
Embrace it fully.
Yes. Because it
Fill
could be
in the
zany.
blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also vulnerable.
Mm,
You know,
that's a great
right?
word.
You know,
Mhm.
it's. I feel like that can make it more exciting, maybe.
Because vulnerability only comes when you're actually showing something.
Right.
For real. Or else it's not vulnerable. You go like, you can be fake, and if people reject fake you, you're like,
Okay.
Oh.
That's easy. I can fix that.
It's so true.
not me anyway.
I feel this way a lot about because I'll say like, oh, I'm an open book. I'll communicate about things, but it's always things I've already processed,
Right.
I'm already good with.
Already experienced.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready to share it. It's when you're forced to show a side of yourself that you're not ready to reveal. That's when things get tricky
Mhm.
and vulnerable.
But what is ready?
What is ready? I feel like we're never really ready.
No, and having the courage to put yourself out there too, because at the end of the day, you don't know how people are going to respond, but
Yeah.
you might get a response that validates you.
That's so Mercury trine Mars right there. I am all about that. Exactly what you
Good.
said. That. People, you don't know how they're going to take it. Like Gemini, they could take it all kinds of ways.
Right.
But it could be something that actually helps you, serves you, makes you more confident.
Yeah.
And then allows you to be, like you were saying, April, good with the information.
Mhm.
Like the first time you say it, you may or may not be ready, but it's ready is the first time you admit something.
Absolutely.
And then maybe the 15th time, you're like, no, I've processed this a lot. Like I'm good. And it might seem intense, but
Mhm.
you're like, no. This is my
It's okay. Yeah.
70th time telling this story.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
But the first time there is that kind of courage, right? That you have to share. And I mean, this moon to me is one that is really well represented too by the star that it's on top of. It's conjunct a fixed star, Alnilam.
Oh,
I don't know
good.
if I'm saying that right.
I wanted to loop back to this because I find this so interesting.
And that means in Arabic, the girdle of Orion, or a string of pearls. I say girdle of Orion is where it is. The string of pearls is what it means. And it's of the nature of both Jupiter and Saturn. So it brings both really, really good things and then also some difficult things. But it is associated with like gain and loss, travel and danger.
The balance.
It's like these
the
two.
ultimate balance. Yeah, that you need as above, so below.
As above, so
Yeah.
below.
And you can't realize gain if you don't know loss,
Yeah.
right? There has to
Oh,
be some
beautiful. Yeah.
contrast for things to be seen.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Komm du noch?
If you've heard that sound from Babbel before, I bet you do. Babbel is the science-backed language learning app that actually works. With quick 10-minute lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts, Babbel gets you on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. With over 16 million subscriptions sold and a 20-day money-back guarantee, just start speaking another language with Babbel. Right now, up to 55% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/Spotify podcast. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify podcast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Behind the delivery trucks that keep your life stocked, thousands of employees at BP go to work every day. People bringing a new offshore production platform online. People making our refineries capable of more, like making renewable diesel from agricultural waste. People trading and shipping fuels to our customers. And people helping truckers fill up and get maintenance at our convenient locations. They're part of the more than 300,000 jobs BP supports across the country. Learn more at bp.com/investing in America.
Way to eat a T. You're listening to an ad for PC Game Pass. Want new games on day one like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? How about living out your Sims life with EA Play? We're talking high quality PC games all for one low monthly price. We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass or click the banner. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle available December 9th, 2024. Game catalog varies by region and over time. Okay, that's the ad. You can go back to doing whatever you were doing now.
And now we are back with our top 3 transits of this lunar cycle. The first of which is the sun entering Capricorn on Saturday, December 21st at 3:20 in the morning. And that rings in the winter solstice. Capricorn's our 10th sign, cardinal earth, ruled by Saturn, symbolized by the goat, and ruling the knees, body, hair, skin, joints, bones, and teeth. This is our first Capricorn season since Pluto moved out.
Oh.
How do we feel about this?
What is it going to feel like? I think it's going to feel different.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I get to see my Capricorn bestie in January, like on her birthday. Get to travel, have some bougie experiences in New York City. And so I don't know. I'm always excited for Capricorn season.
I will be in New York City on the solstice.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes.
Wait, are you both going to be there on the same solstice?
Maybe.
This is cool.
That would be wild. But New York City is so Capricorn.
It is.
Oh, it's
And it makes
the
sense
business.
that she lives there.
It is
it's
the CEO. It is the
busy business.
It's not the capital of the United States, but it is the commerce capital of the United States.
It's the commerce capital, I would argue, of
the world. Yes.
And she has been wanting to live there for years. And so she absolutely, manifested this for herself.
She's making it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great example of what can happen when Pluto gets out of a sign.
Yeah.
You're like,
Great
what?
point.
Now it's time. Now we can. Now we're here. And this Sun in Capricorn transit to me is good for all kinds of Capricorn things. But also it's important to remember that Saturn, its ruler, is in Pisces. And so we can add a little Piscean flavor to the Capricorn, which I think makes things feel a little bit more
relaxed
and exciting, or the sensation, the sensory pleasure thing.
Like dreamy.
Yeah.
Like we can feel into these dreams and they feel a little warm and fuzzy versus just feeling very intense and direct.
Well, and it's also the holiday season. So it's like, people get that nostalgia, that warm, fuzzy
embrace
Christmas.
it.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get nostalgia here for sure, given all of the sextiles that the sun's going to make in Capricorn, both to Saturn and then to Neptune as well. I think that'll be very
intense. Yeah.
Vibey.
Yes. And I love nostalgia. Who doesn't?
I know. Who doesn't?
Right.
It's such a thing right now.
But I do think that we probably this year, especially because financial things are kind of question mark, given that we're in this weird U.S. era between presidents where one's not really president anymore and one's not really president yet either.
Ooh, it's almost like a retrograde. A Mars retrograde.
Yeah. Almost like a Mars retrograde. One of our candidates has Mars in Leo. One of our presidents has Mars in Leo natally. So in first house.
Oh, identity all the way.
Mm-hmm. And there's a change of the guard with that identity.
Changing
and I
of
think
the guard. Yeah.
this Capricorn season, like your friend moving to New York, there could be a change in our professional identities or in our sort of pursuits, our intentions. Because goal orientation is a big cardinal sign thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what are your goals? And the Pisces part is live your dreams.
Live your dreams.
Yeah.
The whisper in the wind, listening to the wind.
It's that subtle voice in the back of your mind. Is this really what I want?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't forget the whimsy.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's weird is that it's actually practical to live your highest purpose. So whatever that little voice is could actually be more logical and pragmatic than it seems. It's impractical actually to continue to live a lie.
Oh, okay. That's some truth. It is impractical to continue to live a lie. Wow.
I feel like that's very Capricorn
That
and
is-
Gemini.
That is. I'm really like my mind just got blown.
Yay.
It's
Yay.
So good.
Full moon in Gemini is also very mind blowing.
Truth bombs. I told you. Truth
Yes.
bombs.
April
Yes.
knew. April knew.
Well,
She's
the natal.
dropping 'em.
Got to get the
Yeah.
natal one. Yeah.
Mhm. Gotta feel into it.
So I think I put in here moderation, but I feel like moderation is also moderating that pragmatism or like moderating your conservatism. Like with that Capricorn stuff, yes, we traditionally during this season, we do things like show up for family and uphold traditions. And, you know, we probably spent a lot of money. So now we're trying to budget until the end of the year and taxes and whatever. But that there is some element of that, I think, this season where it's like, maybe that's not the vibe. Maybe it's a little bit more fluid than that. Maybe
Yeah.
there's something like if you really want something and you only have this one opportunity to get it, right? The nodes are about to shift in January. And Capricorn is perpendicular to the nodes. It's squaring the North Node in Aries and sextiling the South, or squaring the South Node in Libra, especially right as the sun ingresses. So right around the solstice. And then it's at the bending, right? So it's at a tipping point. And I feel like this tipping point is like, what do you really want? And if you only had one chance to go get it, isn't it kind of worth your while to do that?
Yeah. Like is there going to be a consequence in the long run?
Right.
If not, why not go for it?
What it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life.
Yes.
Ooh.
Mary Oliver.
Oh, beautiful.
Mary Oliver.
We love Mary Oliver. I have a Mary Oliver book in my bag right now.
No way.
My gosh.
Yes. Yep. It's a poetry book at the bottom of my bag right
Very
now.
Gemini energy.
Oh,
I love that.
And very like that square with Neptune. Like, of course I have that. Of course,
Of course
y'all will
you
be in
have
New York at the
poetry.
same time.
I know. How is that?
Why wouldn't
so
we be?
random? Oh gosh. Yeah, Capricorn, I love. Usually Capricorn season is challenging for me. And I think that Pluto situation was impacting it for sure. But it really, January is my least favorite month of the year.
Sun in the 6th. You and I are both Leo rising. So
Yeah.
that's Sun through the 6th. Of course, it's not our favorite season.
Yeah,
I don't like
it's
it either.
gross. But I am feeling way more optimistic for some reason. Thank you, Pisces. Just because it feels like, okay, maybe this is a fresh page, or like opening that new journal for the first time and everything is like crisp and clean, and we can kind of paint our future and paint our goals with some extra color, or maybe we're using a different strategy, a different mindset to motivate us forward into this next season.
And that consistency is also needed too.
Yes, showing up for yourself every day consistently. But also I feel like, it's going to invite some reflection surrounding the impact we aspire to make on the collective. And thinking about legacy and what is, even being a good ancestor. What are we leaving behind?
Oh.
All of these things feel very tied to Capricorn right now.
I love that. I think that's amazing. And I also think it's worth noting, to your point, that this whole Capricorn season, Mars will be retrograde. And Mars stations direct on February 23rd. So, real soon afterwards, like only just another season, that it will station direct. But Mars is the exaltation ruler of Capricorn. And so it being retrograde, that retrospective viewpoint and kind of that like visioning and that sort of refinement. Sure, Mercury will be direct. Mercury has nothing to do with Capricorn. But I love that idea of like, this is a time for that sort of, it's not going to be fast moving. Mars is slow, but it will be something that I think helps us to prepare and provision for the next season.
Provision is a great word. Thinking about how Capricorn and money, that earth sign, it's so tied together. And, where Taurus likes to spend and like luxuriate or hoard.
As a Taurus.
Hoard. Spend or hoard. You want it's like a dragon guarding their treasure trove a little bit.
A bull, yes.
Yeah.
Capricorn is like, let's invest in the stock market and
investment
and make a return. Like, how are we investing our resources? So it's so funny because as we're talking about this, I'm remembering a conversation I had. I'm going to sit down with someone in my family and do a bunch of investment work what like during this like during the time of the solstice and as we transition into Capricorn season. So this is like a great time to look at how are you provisioning for the future? How are you setting yourself up in the season? Not in a stressful way, not in a like desperate need to like hoard or constrict or constrain, but just being reflective on like, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to leave behind? Is this like I need to get life insurance and make sure that my my dependents are set up? Is it I need to actually go open that Roth IRA? Is it I need to start putting money into my high yield savings account? You know, what does that look like for you? But thinking about it in terms of planning and strategy.
I also kind of am reminded to not forget about our generosity maybe during that season, because Capricorn is so generous to, I feel like, to like the people that they love and like support and want to build with and invest in. And I don't know, being generous with yourself, whatever that means, maybe certain parts of yourself, or being generous with the ones you love by helping them.
The impact on the collective.
Yeah.
That you were talking
impact.
about.
Yes.
Yeah.
The impact. Absolutely. Where can you invest time, money, resources? All of us have a resource. It may not be money, but it may be something else.
Right.
Is it a piece of insight, or is it an artistic, creative expression that you can share with the world?
Right.
That brings healing, that brings impact.
And the sun will be here until it moves into Aquarius, marking midwinter on January 19th. So like I said, Mars will be retrograde this whole time, but it will be, I think, especially with Mars being backward moving, we're not going new places, but that consideration, like you said, of legacy or of impact, or, you know, how am I affecting the collective? That kind of review is really productive, especially given our second aspect.
Mm-hmm. Okay, our second aspect is Jupiter in retrograde at 14 degrees of Gemini. This transit is square Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces, and it will happen on Tuesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve, at 3:59 p.m. Central Standard Time.
So we introduced Gemini. Pisces, as a reminder, is the mutable water sign ruled by Jupiter. The last sign, represented by the dual fish, rules the ankles, the feet, and the lymphatic systems. So this is the second of 3 squares. And just for everybody's reference, these squares don't happen often. Jupiter takes 12 years to go around. Saturn takes, close to 3 decades. So these squares are really pivot points in the collective and in the personal too, because they're both visible. So they're social planets, but still visible. So we can probably see this tension in our own lives already, because this is the second one.
Yeah. And I think let's revisit, we talk about how trines are inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Squares are typically challenging aspects. And so we need them. We need things to be challenged in order to initiate change. But it can feel a little bit personal or like a disruption.
Yeah, defensive.
Or defensive energy versus just receiving what's happening. So watch out for that.
Yeah, squares are dynamic and they force change, right? And change is inevitable, but change is also, kinetic. It's a real intensity, right? When anything happens like that. So I feel like with Pisces and Gemini, a lot of this is about how we are personally adapting, evolving, and Pisces is receiving the change and Gemini is initiating the change. So it's kind of like this doing versus surrendering, right? Or like this, what can I create, move, or what do I just have to accept?
That's so good. I love the play of Gemini and Pisces together. It doesn't, I feel like it's hard sometimes as, someone who's new to astrology, or as you're kind of learning how to work with these energies, it's hard to always know how these different signs play in together. And so it's really helpful, I think, to have that perspective.
I think we could be getting, especially with Saturn being the overcoming square, we could be getting a little bit of no energy, right?
Yeah.
Where Jupiter and Gemini is like, I want to write, I want to create, I want to blah, blah, blah. And then Saturn's like, no.
Who wants to hear that? Really? Like, who wants to hear that?
Nobody.
Nobody.
But obviously, well, I say obviously, if you believe in purpose and in everything happening on purpose, nothing being random, there's a reason that door is closed. Like it's a redirect. The redirect is intentional and purposeful as well. So how do we integrate that? And I have written here, we want to be experiencing more than we are. This is the second of 3. So there's just like, we're like really wanting this tension to break, and it's not broken yet.
That's fascinating. It reminds me of a book that I really love by Ryan Holiday, who talks about stoicism and bringing stoicism practices into modern life. And one of his books is called The Obstacle is the Way.
Ooh.
It's so good.
Yes.
Everyone should read it. But it's so funny. My sister and I just say it to each other all the time when something bad happens, like something disrupts or like there's a problem. It's like, well, the obstacle is the way. So it's don't break down, break through.
Right.
And how are we harnessing, okay, if this is a no, if this is a boundary that the universe is giving me, how can I redirect? So a practical example of this in a very small way, it's like I have learned if I'm trying to like log into something and it's just not working, I'll just stop, walk away. I'm not meant to log into this right now. Put it down, come back to it later. If I'm like can't check out online, or like if there's just a small inconvenience blocking the path, instead of doubling down and getting frustrated, just leave it. I'm not meant to do that at this moment. In a bigger way, that could be, you get a rejection from a job. You had travel plans, but someone gets sick and, you can't go. Instead of getting frustrated and just feeling like, oh, this is happening to me, think about, okay, let's pivot. And it's that mutableness that you were talking about earlier, Jordan. Find, flow with it. Find another way.
And how can you utilize the resources that you might already have to potentially work through it or just do something else?
You guys are both speaking to the fact that Saturn's in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter's in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. Mercury's in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. Bing, 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 bing.
So it's like a ping. What is the
ping pong?
Not ping pong, pinball, where it's
yes, but they're all like Saturn is ruled by Jupiter, so that no that we're getting is from Jupiter. It's the same. It's like you know what? Even though you really want X, you can't have it. No. So you're gonna have to redirect to Y.
It's like the cool parent telling you no. It's like,
yes,
oh, man,
you're not used to it, but it's it's for your good.
Yeah,
it's
they're wanting to protect you. They know it's not good for you.
You can't have that third cup of hot chocolate right before you go to sleep.
No,
like you just can't.
It's not going to be good, especially because let's be real. Mercury is in detriment. Jupiter is in detriment. So sometimes the things that look shiny or look exciting, or you're like, no, I think I want that. It's like, oh, baby, no.
you don't
really want that.
It's
step
like
away.
Your girlfriend holding you back from the situationship.
Literally,
you should not be texting.
No,
don't do it. Just don't.
Like, to use your earlier example about the cool parent, sometimes the cool parent being the only one home and like, other responsible parent goes out of town sounds cool when you're a kid, and then you're like third day in and you're like, I haven't had dinner in like 2 days.
Like, wait.
Exactly. I need some structure, please.
Yeah, please. I miss it.
And I think that this also can hearken us back. So if you're like confused a little bit, right? Because the mutable signs can be confusing, especially because Neptune's up there in the mix. If this is confusing to you, think about or go look at your calendar. What were you doing on August 19th? Because that was the first time this square occurred. And so whatever themes were present then, those will be kind of what is being revisited. And the last time this happened, so this aspect will happen again, June 15th of 25, but it will not happen in these signs. So Jupiter is changing signs and Saturn's changing signs. The next time this happens this summer, this will be Cancer and Aries. So we are adapting right now. And I like that one because, yeah, sure, Saturn is not doing well there, but Jupiter's in its exaltation. So
Jupiter's happy. I'm always happy when Jupiter's happy.
Same.
But this is the last time that this will happen in Gemini and Pisces. So these themes are kind of preparing us. They're evolving us and sort of changing us so that we will be ready for whatever we're initiating this summer. And I think it's weird to be at a point of an ending and you're like, wait, something's ending? Yes. Yes.
Something is ending.
So something else can start. And that's inevitable. But like, what do you want to wind down right now? Saturn's giving that no energy. So like, what are we trying to stop?
Ooh, yes. This is a great time to introspect and set boundaries, say no to things, cancel plans, go deep. It's there. It's available to you. So if you're feeling that overstimulation of Gemini, which we were talking about,
Ping pong,
bing, 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 pinball, you are... It's both, honestly, ping pong and pinball. You can actually just opt out if you don't want it.
Yeah.
Opt out of those text messages.
Yeah, just
set a boundary.
put it down.
It's okay. Yeah. Your
Unsubscribe.
friends aren't going to be mad at you because you called in sick. Like,
Or they're not your friends.
right.
Or they're not your real
Exactly.
friends.
Oh my gosh. And that I think leads us perfectly into our third transit.
Where Mercury is direct at 13 degrees Sagittarius, square Jupiter retrograde at 13 degrees Gemini on Thursday, December 26th at 4:49 p.m. And then square Saturn at 14 degree Pisces on Friday, December 27th at 1:30 a.m. I love all the emojis you put at the end of this one.
I felt they were all appropriate. Mercury basically is squaring Jupiter and Saturn. So it kind of was close when Jupiter and Saturn made their square a couple days before, but like, let's just say there's this big T-square in the sky between Mercury and Jupiter and Saturn. And this Mercury aspect has happened twice before, and this is the third time it's going to happen. So there is this patterning, right? Pattern recognition, I feel like, is a big thing for this full moon in Gemini. And if we recognize the patterns, we can choose what to stop and then what to go forward with. But it's basically, there's going to be a place in the sky where you need to complete the square. We need Virgo. Find our Virgo friends, Virgo energy, or just like our inner Virgo, because somebody needs to like take it all in. This is Mercury's yin sign, right? And be like, that doesn't make sense. That sounds dumb. That is workable. We can work with that. All right.
Yeah. Having a conference, like, in a room.
Making it make sense
Yeah.
because it's going to be a lot of stimulation. And like I said, there's a lot of Mercury and Jupiter in detriment. And it can feel like you just can't figure it out.
That's good. This is like putting your favorite, person with significant Virgo placements in charge of kind of directing the chaos of your Christmas gathering.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let them be in charge of what happens when and sorting things out, because we're still in retrograde. Mercury is still in retrograde on Christmas Day. And I feel like we could wake up the next day with some clarity, like, oh, when it stations direct on the 26th, and it's like, I see what was going on. But maybe the anecdote is, let someone with some good Virgo vibes be in charge.
Well, when we complete the square instead of a T-square, the center becomes obvious because like you've completed the square. So there's only one place of balance and it's in the center of everything. And I think here too, like to your point, this will all be right around Christmas. So if Christmas is bonkers or if Christmas is like confusing, strange, if people are talking over each other or like nobody's understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
Or if there are some very different Christmas traditions that we have.
Oh, I like that, playing together, like integrating different cultures into one experience and trying to, navigate like, okay, maybe this is our tradition. How do we bring your tradition and make it all work together? And it feels maybe like disjointed or these don't match.
A little chaotic.
It's like eating breakfast for dinner, dinner for breakfast.
But then that actually being the right
that's
answer.
the best
but it's
thing.
like fun, like it ends up being a good time.
Yeah, we've been doing this thing. So both of my stepchildren have birthdays within a week or two of Christmas. Like one of them within like 6 days, one of them within, 8 days. Anyway, on either end. And so they were telling me that it's overwhelming to open so many presents so close to themselves, like their birthdays, Christmas, and then their birthday. And we've been doing this thing first time this year where we're opening early presents. Like I'm doing birthdays early, you know what I mean? Opening a few early Christmas presents so that they can enjoy their things. They've asked for it. They're like, we want to just take them in one at a time or else it's overwhelming. I forget what I got.
Almost like a birthday advent calendar.
Yes.
It's really sweet.
Where you spread it out. I'm a big fan of that. I've actually done that with my daughter just by default most of her life because she's I haven't been with her dad for most of her life.
Mm-hmm.
So she's always had multiple Christmases in different places.
Yep.
And she celebrates birthdays at weird times because it's like, when can that part of the family get together?
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of hoarding gifts and making her open them all at once, we have a tradition where as they come, I just give them to her. And so she gets kind of like a season
Yeah.
Gifts.
of gifts, which has felt more in alignment with her. She gets overstimulated and overwhelmed easily. So there's also that. Some people may want just the huge explosion in their face all at once.
I think also
Taurus.
like yeah.
Rachel's like, I would never
She's
want,
like, what do
to
you mean?
spread it out, but if that's what you want, I'll do it.
I
for
have
you.
memories of being a small child and just being like, oh my God, it's so amazing.
You're like, I love this feeling of floating.
Give it all to me at once.
Well, I think implementing that kind of like thoughtful ritual with people you love, it really deepens your bond with them a lot.
And
too.
adapting your traditions.
Yeah. So I think it creates a new ritual and it intensifies that connection that you have with somebody too.
I'm really vibing with that,
Yeah,
Jordan.
thank you.
Yeah.
And they feel, I think, more involved or like more
Yeah.
ownership of the traditions.
And it's more thoughtful too. That you
Versus
know,
feeling
just
seen.
Doing
Yeah.
it because this is what we've always done, or doing it because this is what we should do.
Yeah.
Doing it because this is in alignment with your good and my good, and we feel authentic together.
We
right.
choose it.
Yeah, it's
We
genuine.
choose it. Chosen family versus
Mm.
obligation.
And so for this aspect, if you're like, okay, we're still confused, think about
I get it.
November 18th. This squares pattern happened at about 18 degrees of all of those signs. Second time was December 4th, so just like really recently. And then this will be the last time. So it'll be at 18 degrees, 16, and then 13 degrees. So all kind of close together, but not at the same exact point. And what I like about this is they're in kind of descending order. So we're getting back to the root of things on this last square moment. And I just want to ask some questions both to the audience and to y'all. So we've been on this journey for like 6 weeks. So what have we changed our minds about? What beliefs have we changed or challenged? And how have we adapted to this pressure?
You know, it's really funny. Sorry.
Please.
I saw December 4th. That's the night my car battery died, which can be kind of an inconvenience. You know,
Yeah.
I'm grateful
So Mercury.
that I have a car. Yeah, that I'm able to drive a vehicle around. And I think what I've been implementing more, and I mentioned this earlier, is adapting and utilizing the resources I already have around me, right?
Mhm.
So I had jumper cables in my car. Two really kind strangers asked me if I needed to jumped the car in like 5 minutes, was able to get all the way home. My partner took me to work the next day. Like I had access to a vehicle. I knew the battery that I needed. Went and got the battery after work, thanks to my partner, because he was chauffeuring me around everywhere.
You deserve it.
Right. Well, thank you. And it actually was way less stressful than I probably would have like made it like 6 months ago. And it just like was incredibly easy. And I think it's because, well, one, thankfully I had those resources around me, but I was able to think clearly and be like, okay, I can fix this. I don't need to panic. It's fine. I'll be okay.
The panic doesn't help you think.
No. Like
Yeah.
laughing, like to me, helps me think.
And
Like,
also
laughing
those
about it,
people
yeah.
around you are also a product of how you are.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they're a reflection of
Mhm.
the energy that you're giving out.
that is very beautiful.
Yeah, you're pulling it back in.
But yeah, I felt incredibly like it was such a small, it feels like a small thing to blow into like a big thing, but I felt incredibly lucky, and it was just, everything was just with ease. I was like, oh, we'll be fine. Like, it's
But that
okay.
ease has to start somewhere.
That's true. Within.
Mhm.
The ease starts within. So that's interesting, thinking about how typical challenges, things that would disrupt or dysregulate you, how can we move through them with ease and work with the
Yes.
energy? I definitely feel like that's a lesson I'm learning and have been learning
Yeah.
over the last 6 weeks.
And I think that's for the whole collective. I mean, if we could just say that there are things that we have transcended, and it's important to remember the things that maybe would have stressed us out or sent us spinning,
Mm-hmm.
and how we've grown. So appreciation of that growth, and then having an eye to future growth, because the more we uncover about places where we are sensitive, vulnerable, where we could adapt for better results, that's how we grow. And I think this moon in Gemini is about that external processing leading to growth, even when it's really freaking challenging
Yeah.
or confusing.
Oh, and 100%. The first time that this, transit occurred was on my solar return, November 18th. It's my
Okay.
birthday. So this all feels personal.
Quite so. And what have you noticed that has been evolving or changing since your solar return?
I mean, my identity, my career path, my how I'm prioritizing time, how I view myself, how others view me. I am about to launch a new brand. And
Oh, congrats. It's exciting.
Go girl.
Yeah.
I
That's
know all
exciting.
of this. It's really,
Hey.
it's like everything is shifting and yet nothing is shifting. It's almost like the circumstances haven't so much changed. It's how I show up in those circumstances that is changing. I am changing. I am mutable.
I am reminded of Gen Z slang right now, let her cook.
Let her cook.
Because cooking is just that. Nothing's going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just melding.
What is it? Someone cooked
It's
here.
alchemy.
It is alchemy. And I feel like you're the person that's going to get to firsthand experience that transmutation. And that's a really exciting feeling. I
You
don't
got
know.
to
It's-
evolve. I'm a Scorpio.
Yeah,
I have to do
you
it.
love the intensity. I mean,
I love it.
Yeah.
I want it to be intense and hot and produce something. I
Yeah.
want to
And you will.
see the transmutation. I can't deal with these death by 1,000 paper cuts is my nightmare. I just want to blow it all up
yeah.
at once.
That sounds like the dark side of this moon and Gemini square Neptune, death by 1,000 papers.
It is.
That should be the name of a book, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think that everyone out in the audience is probably checking their dates and their planners and their
Like,
schedules.
wait a minute.
Very mercurial about all of the squares and when they were where. But the next lunation will be a new moon in Capricorn that happens December 31st. So we got lucky 3 lunations in 1 month.
Woohoo.
New Year's Eve for a new moon. Nothing could feel better to me. I love it when
Same.
things align.
Ooh, yes.
Same.
New beginnings.
Yes.
And we'll see you then.
All right. Bye,
Cheers.
y'all. Cheers.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.